Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to talk about 5 things we hate about the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally.
Before you get too angry, if you're looking for a more positive video, click this link to find out what we love about Sturgis.
If this is your first time on the channel, we talk about motorcycles, vlog our motorcycle trips, and generally just have a lot of fun, usually revolving around motorcycles. So we've been to Sturgis quite a few times and we kind of know what we like and what we don't like. These are all our opinions, so people are gonna like different things, but in our experiences, this is what we've come up with for the things we don't like so much.
This is our opinion, so don't come for us. In no particular order, number 1 is that there's always the same vendors there year after year. Especially on Main Street, it's always the same, shirt vendors and leather vendors and the same food year after year.
Yeah, it's always, we're not dogging on any vendors in particular, but it's always like the hot leathers and, the patch vendors and stuff. It would be nice to see some different things on Main Street. They do mix it up on the highway, which is Lozelle. And, you've got some of your bigger vendors like Harley and Vance and Hines and all these guys, Corbin Seats. We just wish they'd mix it up a little bit. So that brings us to number 2 on our list, which is the price gouging. Now I realize this town has 2 weeks to make its money with all the people that come to town. It's a big source of income for them. But you don't need to charge $400 for one night at a motel room when it's kind of a shithole.
Which is what we paid for what year was that, the 75th?
Yeah, 75th.
75th. We stayed at a hotel, I don't know where it was. The Best Western in Sturgis was over $400 for one night, which was ridiculous.
Yeah. On top of lodging, food is extremely high priced. Beer is extremely high priced. Pretty much everything. The gas, they gouge you on the gas. But you can take a shower downtown for pretty cheap. It's like $7.
Number 3 is that Sturgis has kind of turned into a family event nowadays. You can walk down Main Street and there's children and strollers and just a whole bunch of families. You can tell that they don't ride. They're just there to experience Sturgis.
It's fine for those people, they want to enjoy it and stuff, but when you get down to the brass tacks of things, it's supposed to be a motorcycle rally.
It's not for kids.
Yeah, which leads us into number 4, which it has lost its rally feel. Now, it's kind of outgrown itself in my opinion. It's still a good time, but like she said, there's families running around. Nothing against police, but there's cops everywhere and you can't have any fun. I mean, no burnouts,
And Sturgis used to be about, you would go down Main Street and see the biker girls with, pasties on. They can't even do that anymore. I mean, you rarely see, the last time we went, we didn't see any pasties.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
it was pretty. It's gotten pretty tame now. My first year was in 2003, which I know is quite a bit tamer than it was in the 80s and 90s, especially because I had a lot of friends that went up in those years, and I got to see their pictures and stuff. So I know 2003 is relatively tame compared to those years, but it's extremely tame now, which isn't always such a bad thing, but. In 03, they had, even at the campgrounds, there was nudity, and I'm not saying I just love looking at naked people, but I love looking at naked people. And there's a county-wide nudity ban now. Girls can't have their tatas flopping around, and which, some of the women up there, I know you like to have a good time, but you need to keep those suckers in.
Put those things away.
They've outlived their years. So for the fifth and final thing that we hate about the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally is the inexperienced riders. Now, the hills are great to ride. There's a lot of curves, switchbacks, sweeping curves. I mean, it's fun. But a lot of guys will get their first motorcycle. They might not even have a license yet, and they're out there riding those hills and trying to keep up with traffic. Now, if you haven't been to Sturgis, you will never see that many motorcycles in one area that size. I mean,
unless you were at Bring It Home.
well, yeah, but even then, like the sheer amount of motorcycles that cover the entire Black Hills, it's crazy. Yeah, it's definitely something to see. But on top of that, you've got experienced riders and inexperienced riders, and you've got people that don't have their license and they're riding without helmets. And I'm not advocating for or against helmets. I'm just saying if you're new, maybe you should wear one until you figure out if you suck at riding or not. Because you know there's a lot of deaths up there, and they try to do as much as they can to prevent it, but you're not gonna stop the inexperienced riders from being inexperienced. That's not the place to go and practice. It's not the place to, and not the time to go and practice. You know, if you want to ride the hills and practice doing curves, go before the rally or after the rally. The rally is not the time to learn how to ride. We did have one bonus tip that Lady Devil came up with. So number 6 on the list
is that there's no good beer. I can't find a dark beer anywhere in Sturgis.
Yeah, I mean, they have to try to get beer to please everybody and not just a niche group. And we realize that. If you've watched the channel at all, you know that we love dark beer. We love oatmeal stouts and porters. They're very hard to come by. I don't think I've ever seen one in Sturgis.
I don't think we've ever.
And we had one down in Hot Springs or something once, but yeah, breweries are popping up here and there, I think, but they're still a long way behind the times when it comes to good beer up there. Good craft beer, anyway, at the sake of sounding like hipsters. Well, thanks for watching this video, guys. Hopefully it wasn't too negative. If you want a more positive spin, click the link at the end of this video to look at our top 5 things we love about Sturgis. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
P.S. Again, this is just our opinion, so don't get angry and give us your little comments.